The pioneer of filter feeders, this small, advanced flying reptile features an elegant, slender head with a 13-centimeter skull layout, instantly recognized by its formidable, comb beak, packed with exactly 152 long, interlocking needle teeth that flare out to the sides. A water-resistant coat of fine pycnofibers wraps its frame, likely showing slate gray and lake silt patterns. It is a highly active resident of wet, temperate, and seasonal conifer woodlands, patrolling lush lakeside forests and ash-shrouded volcanic plains. A patient, wade-and-sieve specialist, it stalks shallow shorelines with a calculated quadrupedal step. It sweeps its parallel-sided bill through the water to trap small aquatic invertebrates before the rear teeth shrink into tiny pegs below its large skull windows. Completely silent, closely shares structural lines with the European Ctenochasma. However, Leodactylus is instantly distinguished in the field by its much shorter snout profile, vastly larger, fused skull window frames, and a significantly lower overall tooth count. An elegant, medium-sized coastal flyer with a slender, slightly upward curving snout that is rounded at the tip, notable for its advanced, comb beak, lined with a moderate number of long, thin, closely packed teeth restricted to the front half of the mouth. Mature adults display a low bony head crest covered in water-repellent pycnofibers. Its coat likely shows slate gray and salt white patterns, offering camouflage over the shallow, spotted limestone reefs and misty marine lagoons of its European habitat. Strictly nocturnal, it spends daylight resting on rocky cliffs and takes to the night skies to forage while wading like a spoonbill. It sweeps its jaws through the water to trap small aquatic invertebrates in its interlocking dental basket. It possesses large wings suited for skua-like gliding flight and moves on land with a steady quadrupedal walk. Completely silent, niche partition from the daytime hunting Tridactylus, it is easily distinguished from the earlier C. romeri by its significantly more slender teeth, and from the later C. elegans by its noticeably lower total tooth count layout. A small, elegant coastal flyer with a maximum adult wingspan of 1.9 meters and a slender, narrow snout curving slightly upward, instantly recognized by its extreme filter feeding mouth layout packed with as many as 260 long, thin, curved, and needle-like comb teeth that project outward away from the jaws to form a distinct basket. Mature adults display a low bony head crest. Its dense pycnofibers likely display slate gray and gull white tones, blending with sun-bleached limestone reefs and marine lagoon waters. Strictly nocturnal, it rests on sea cliffs by day and hunts at night like a modern spoonbill or skua, waiting to sieve small invertebrates from water currents. It has large wings and moves on land with a steady quadrupedal walk. Completely silent, niche partition from the diurnal Tridactylus, it is easily distinguished from its chronological predecessors C. romeri and C. tacheti by its much higher number of exceptionally slender, closely packed comb teeth. An elegant, ancestral filter feeding flyer with a slender, narrow snout curving slightly upward and rounded at the tip. The earliest form of its lineage, it features a less extreme, primitive, comb beak, lined with a relatively low number of only moderately slender teeth, restricted to the front half of the mouth. Mature adults develop a low bony head crest. Its dense pycnofibers likely display slate gray and salt white patterns, offering camouflage over the shallow limestone reefs, coastal mud flats, and marine channels of its European territory. Strictly nocturnal, it spends daylight resting on rocky cliffs and takes to the night skies to forage while wading like a spoonbill, sweeping its jaws through water to sieve small invertebrates. It has large wings suited for skua-like gliding and moves on land with a steady quadrupedal walk. Completely silent, niche partition from the diurnal Tridactylus, it is easily distinguished from its chronological descendants C. tacheti and C. elegans by its noticeably lower total tooth count layout and stouter, less heavily refined dental needle array. An impressive, large-framed flying reptile with a robust 2.5-meter wingspan, presenting a commanding presence among inland flyers. It features an advanced, short-tailed skeletal plan with an elongated neck and highly dynamic, air-filled wing bones. A dense layer of downy, water-resistant pycnofibers drapes its torso, likely patterned in mottled sand browns and mud tones to provide camouflage. It is a strictly terrestrial generalist, patrolling the expansive river channels, floodplain lakes, and open gallery forests of its North American habitat. An active, agile wading predator, it tracks riverbeds and shallow wetlands with a steady quadrupedal stride. It relies on its highly lightened bone frame to turn precisely in tight winds, dropping low to snap up fish or soft-bodied invertebrates from the water. Flight is silent, coexists with several related flyers but is easily distinguished by its superior size footprint. It closely mirrors its neighbor Mesodactylus, but Capodactylus is instantly distinguished in the field by being vastly larger and possessing prominent diagnostic air sac holes scoring its arm bones and neck vertebrae frame. A unique, slender flying reptile with an estimated 1.2-meter wingspan, recognizable by its large neck vertebrae and a noticeably long tail. It features an elongated lower jaw with parallel edges that form a tightly fused symphysis, flaring out into a spoon-like expansion at the very tip. A dense coat of fine pycnofibers covers its body, likely patterned in drab mud brown and gold to match the river channels of its North American forest habitat. A specialized and elegant wader, it patrols shallow lake margins and slow-moving rivers. It sweeps its spoon-shaped jaw through wet sediment to filter out tiny invertebrates, pivoting smoothly on unique, saddle-shaped shoulder joints. It moves with a quiet, calculated shoreline gait, coexists with other flyers in its habitat, but is easily distinguished by its long tail. It represents the only known specialized strain of its kind in the region, separated from distant European cousins by its unique skeletal proportions and distinct jaw tip. A bizarre, medium-sized coastal flyer, with a 1.17-meter wingspan, instantly recognized by its highly specialized, whale-like jaw architecture. It features a distinctive snout terminating in a wide, spatula-shaped rostrum, with an upper jaw so strongly curved it prevents the mouth from closing completely. Over 480 flexible, interlocking needle teeth with hook-shaped tips line the sides of its beak, leaving the spatula tip completely bare. A water-resistant coat of fine pycnofibers drapes its body, likely in slate gray and salt white patterns to match the marine lagoons, reefs, and rocky coastlines of its European habitat. A patient wading specialist, it stands in natural water currents or uses its gular throat pouch like a dabbling duck to actively pump plankton-rich water through its teeth, filtering out tiny organisms. It moves on land with a steady quadrupedal gait, entirely silent, while its body proportions mirror Tridostro and Cycnorhamphus. Balaeonognathes is instantly separated in the field by its wide, flat-tipped spatula beak and unique, curved open jaw profile. A true giant of its era, this imposing, large-framed coastal predator boasts a spectacular 3.6-meter wingspan, making it the largest known Jurassic member of its lineage layout. It features a strongly flattened snout terminating in a rounded, triangular, spatula-shaped expansion built like a robust fishing trap. Each upper jaw side bears at least 16 massive, straight fangs that project dramatically outward and sideways from conspicuous bone rings layout. A water-resistant coat of fine pycnofibers drapes its body, likely patterned in dark sea grays and rock tones to offer camouflage across its native habitat of marine coastlines, cliffs, and tidal flats. An aggressive, masterful fish hunter, it patrols open water systems, dropping low to forcefully impale or club prey using its heavy spatula beak layout. On land, it folds its long wings to leave distinct, large footprints while moving with a steady quadrupedal walk along mudflats. Entirely silent, coexists with other flyers but is instantly distinguished by its massive footprint layout. It closely mirrors Gnathosaurus subulatus in basic skull lines, but Lusognathus is easily separated in the field by its vastly superior size and more robust, widely spaced teeth, completely lacking fine filter feeding arrays. An elegant, lightly built flying reptile with an advanced, short-tailed body plan and elongated neck, vertebrae built for sudden, darting strikes, instantly recognized by its long, flattened beak and a specialized jaw profile with a paired set of longitudinal grooves along its palate. A dense layer of downy, water-resistant pycnofibers drapes its torso, likely patterned in sandy mud tones and ocean shale grays. This unique flyer is an active shoreline resident, patrolling coastal lagoons, rich river estuaries, and tidal mudflats. A patient and highly agile wading specialist, it stalks shallow waterlines with a calculated quadrupedal step. It sweeps its long jaw through the water, utilizing rows of slender teeth that point obliquely forward to trap small fish and active aquatic invertebrates. Flight is silent and maneuverable, completely silent, completely isolated from European flyers by its strict South American range. It shares close ancestral ties and palatal grooves with the European Gnathosaurus and Portuguese Lusognathus, but Tacuadactylus is cleanly distinguished in the field by its distinct regional range, a smaller body footprint, and narrower, more forward-angled tooth socket alignments. A striking, medium-sized coastal wader, with an estimated 1.7-meter wingspan, easily recognized by its long, slender, 28-centimeter skull layout, instantly distinguished by its highly specialized, spoon-shaped jaw tip lined with up to 130 outward projecting needle-like teeth arranged along the sides. A water-resistant coat of fine pycnofibers drapes its frame, likely showing slate gray and salt white patterns, offering perfect camouflage over the sun-bleached limestone lagoons and shallow reefs of its European habitat. An active shoreline predator, it behaves much like a modern spoonbill, wading patiently through shallow waterlines with its jaws open and closing them instantly upon touching small aquatic prey. On land, it folds its narrow wings to move with a steady, calculated quadrupedal step along mudflats. Entirely silent, highly unique within its ecosystem, it is easily separated from the contemporary, filter-feeding Ctenochasma by its distinctly expanded, spatula-shaped snout tip and stouter tooth setup, totally lacking the dense, thread-like comb rows of its neighbor. Its close sibling G. macrourus is geographically isolated in British ranges, and features a significantly larger, more robust jaw build layout, a large striking coastal flyer featuring a heavily built lower jaw, and elongated neck vertebrae built for sudden, darting strikes, representing the larger northern branch of its lineage. It boasts an advanced short-tailed body plan built for highly dynamic coastal flight. A water-resistant coat of fine pycnofibers drapes its frame, likely patterned in slate gray and salt white to blend with its native environment of lagoon-like systems, tidal mudflats, and limestone cliffs. A patient and highly specialized wading predator, it tracks shallow coastlines with a calculated quadrupedal step. Much like a modern spoonbill, it walks with its long jaws open, instantly closing them to trap small fish and active aquatic invertebrates within its lateral needle-like teeth. Flight is silent and elegant, completely outclasses its contemporary German cousin, G. subulatus, in overall physical footprint and structural robustness. While its feeding style mirrors Ctenochasma elegans, G. macrourus is easily distinguished in the field by its much stouter jaw contours, a unique spoon-shaped bill tip layout, and a completely separate island range zone. A highly distinctive, specialized flyer easily recognized by its uniquely flattened, spatula-shaped snout profile layout. As the most primitive, known member of its lineage, it features a robustly built jaw equipped with a completely unique dental anatomy, tailored to crush and pierce tough quarry. A water-resistant coat of fine pycnofibers wraps its frame, likely showing slate gray and salt white patterns, offering camouflage over muddy shorelines and misty marine lagoons. A dedicated, highly active shoreline specialist, it patrols shallow waterlines with a steady quadrupedal step. It behaves as a specialized predator of hard-shelled organisms, wading into natural currents to expertly seize and crunch crabs or mollusks using its heavily fortified teeth layout. Flight is silent and agile. Entirely silent, it represents the single oldest ecomorph of its group within its rich reef habitat. It shares basic skull contours with Gnathosaurus subulatus, but Spathognathus is instantly distinguished in the field by its significantly older geological range, a smaller body footprint, and its heavily modified, robust teeth layout, totally lacking fine needle-dense filter arrays. A specialized, medium to large flyer, with an estimated minimum skull length of 40 centimeters, famously sharing its striking silhouette with a modern spoonbill. It features a long beak that expands at the front to form a circular, spatula-like tip. This unique rostrum holds 22 narrow, sideways pointing teeth, backed by roughly 4 shorter teeth lining the upper jaws. A water-resistant coat of downy pycnofibers drapes its body, likely patterned in mud browns and silt grays. It is a dedicated wading specialist of lagoon-like systems, tidal mudflats, and marshy coastal plains. An active shoreline generalist, it flies with rhythmic wingbeats before dropping to stalk shallow water with a steady quadrupedal walk. Uniquely, it features a horn-covered pad on its palate, which it likely uses to actively stir up mud or weeds to disturb hidden aquatic organisms. Completely silent, closely mirrors its contemporary Gnathosaurus in overall body footprint. However, Platyleorhynchus is instantly distinguished in the field by its distinct circular spatula beak tip, a unique palate pad, and much smaller, closely packed sieve teeth, completely lacking uniform needle arrays. A striking, medium-sized flyer instantly recognized by its unique snout profile. Unlike related forms with flattened skulls, its rostrum is distinctly keeled, forming a triangular cross-section with a raised center. Its elongated jaw terminates in a unique, diamond-shaped spatula tip that is widest in the middle. A dense layer of fine pycnofibers drapes its frame, likely patterned in mud browns and forest ochres. It is a highly active resident of sluggish freshwater river channels and vast inland floodplain ecosystems. An elegant aeronaut, it patrols waterways with steady, rhythmic wingbeats, dropping low to snap up prey. It relies on smooth, oval-shaped teeth that project sideways from protruding sockets before curving downward near the back of the beak to trap fish and small aquatic reptiles. Ground locomotion is a steady, Quadrupedal crawl, completely silent, highly isolated as the only named flyer in Southeast Asian ranges. It is closely related to the European Lusognathus due to its sideways pointing teeth, but Grudipterus is instantly distinguished by its keeled rostrum, diamond-shaped snout tip, and stouter, more oval tooth profile. A slender, highly athletic flyer with a robust 1.2-meter wingspan, recognized by its exceptionally elongated, powerful forelimbs and standard four-jointed wing fingers. A water-resistant coat of fine pycnofibers drapes its compact body, likely patterned in dark mud tones, and like slate grays to offer camouflage over the expansive temperate lake basins, active volcanic plains, and rich riverside habitats of its Asian territory. An active and nimble aerial specialist, it cuts through seasonal lake breezes with sharp, precise wing beats, utilizing a strongly lightened, heavily reduced lower leg frame to optimize aerodynamic efficiency. It operates as a specialized surface picker and wading hunter, dropping low over shallow waters to sieve out aquatic invertebrates. On land, it relies on slightly curved claws to move with a steady quadrupedal walk along shoreline mudflats. Completely silent, it closely shares its rich early Cretaceous wetland ecosystem with Bipolopterus chenianus. However, Eosipterus is instantly distinguished in the field by its stouter, more robust wing profile and the presence of a complete fourth wing finger joint, which its specialized local neighbor has entirely lost. A sleek, moderately sized flyer with a neat 1-meter wingspan and an overall length of 50 centimeters. It features an advanced, short-tailed frame, an elongated neck, and a remarkably unique wing structure that completely lacks the standard fourth outer wing finger bone. A dense, hair-like pycnofiber coat forms a prominent mane along its neck. Its body membranes are heavily lined with complex networks of blood vessels, likely serving as a thermal radiator during flight. Tinted in mottled slate and lake silt grays, it blends seamlessly with the volcanic lake basins and ancient floodplains of its Asian forest habitat. An active, agile wading specialist, it tracks shallow lake margins with a calculated quadrupedal step, utilizing webbed feet to navigate muddy shorelines and soft sediment. It flies low over the water to actively sieve out aquatic insects. Completely silent, coexists with several filter-feeding relatives, but is instantly distinguished by its unique wing design. It closely mirrors Eosipterus yangji in size and structural traits, but Bipolopterus is cleanly separated in the field by its distinct neck mane, webbed feet, and the absolute absence of a fourth outer wing phalanx bone. A large striking coastal aeronaut with a powerful 2.4-meter wingspan and an extraordinarily elongated, 40-centimeter skull, instantly recognized by a highly unusual profile, a pronounced overbite where the upper jaw extends significantly beyond the lower jaw, paired with a long, low midline snout ridge and a sharp bony crest projecting backward from the rear of its head. A water-resistant coat of fine pycnofibers drapes its torso, likely patterned in slate grays and seafoam tones to blend with the marine cliffs, limestone reefs, and misty lagoons of its eastern territory. An active and nimble surface picker, it cruises coastal winds on robust, elongated wings. It drops low over the waves, using an exceptionally long neck and exactly 76 long, curved needle fangs restricted entirely to its beak tips to sieve out surface fish and soft-bodied cephalopods. Ground locomotion is an active quadrupedal stride. Completely silent, vastly outclasses all other regional lookalikes in adult wingspan. It is easily distinguished from its close relative Mogonopterus by its much stouter jaw armor and unique, double-crested skull contours layout, completely lacking the extremely elongated sword-like snout profile of its neighbor. An elegant, small-bodied flying reptile characterized by a highly advanced, short-tailed body plan, instantly recognized by its unique, comb beak profile, where a dense array of long, slender teeth flares dramatically outward and sideways right at the absolute tip of its snout. A water-resistant coat of fine pycnofibers wraps its frame, likely showing slate gray and lake silt patterns. This specialized flyer is a dedicated resident of temperate lake basins, wet conifer woodlands, and ash-shrouded floodplains. A patient and highly agile wading filter feeder, it paces along shallow shorelines with a calculated quadrupedal step. It sweeps its narrow jaws through water currents to sieve out small aquatic invertebrates in its interlocking dental basket. Flight is silent and maneuverable. Completely silent, intricately mirrors its close contemporary, Ctenochasma, in its outward flaring snout teeth layout. However, Cathoopterus represents a distinct branch within its Asian wetland territory, easily separated in the field by subtle baseline skeletal dimensions and unique, localized skull contours layout. A dainty, exceptionally slender flyer featuring a lightweight body plan, an elongated neck, and a flat, concave top snout, notable for a low, thin midline skull crest and a slightly projecting forehead profile. A dense, downy coat of fine, unbranched hair like pycnofibrous wraps its frame, extending right up to the back of its head, tinted in mottled slate and lake silt grays. It blends into the ash-shrouded volcanic plains and temperate lake basins of its Asian habitat. An active and elegant wading specialist, it stalks shallow wetlands with a calculated quadrupedal step. It sweeps its long jaws through water currents, using roughly 150 densely packed, needle-sharp teeth to trap small aquatic invertebrates. Flight is agile and silent, no vocalizations are known. Coexists with several filter feeders in its wetland ecosystem. It closely mirrors Bapulopterus chenianus in lineage and habits, but Gedgepterus is instantly distinguished in the field by its distinctive snout crest, flat-topped head contours, and a full set of 4 wing finger bones, completely lacking the shortened wing finger design of its neighbor. An impressive, large-framed flyer with a robust 2.5-meter wingspan, instantly recognized by its striking, falcon-like silhouette and exceptionally elongated neck vertebrae layout. It carries a unique, highly specialized wing anatomy, where the first bone segment of the flight finger is remarkably shorter than both the second and third sections. A dense layer of downy, fine pycnofibers drapes its 10 kilograms frame, likely displaying mottled forest greens and bark browns to blend seamlessly with the dense, humid subtropical canopies and lush lakeside woodlands of its Asian inland habitat. A powerful and enduring aeronaut, it actively patrols open forest channels and lake shorelines, dropping low to snap up active prey. Ground locomotion is a calculated quadrupedal pace. Entirely silent, coexists with several filter-feeding relatives, but stands out due to its superior physical footprint. It mirrors the giant late Cretaceous Astarchids in its elongated neck bone curves, but Elanodactylus is cleanly separated in the field by its true Ctenochasmatidae body plan and unique, shortened first wing finger bone layout. A specialized, small-bodied flying reptile characterized by an exceptionally elongated, 21-centimeter crestless head profile. It is easily recognized by its remarkable filter-feeding mouth layout packed with about 112 long, needle-sharp teeth covering over half the length of its jaws. A sleek coat of downy pycnofibers drapes its advanced, short-tailed frame, likely patterned in slate gray and lake silt tones. This unique creature is a dedicated resident of temperate lake basins, river channels, and volcanic floodplains. An active, agile wading specialist, it stalks muddy shorelines with a calculated quadrupedal step. It sweeps its unkeeled bill through the water to sieve out small aquatic invertebrates, trapping prey as its forward-leaning front fangs mesh together and protrude well beyond the margins of its head when closed. Flight is silent, shares its rich ancestral lake habitat with Gladocephaloideus, its closest regional lookalike. However, Pteropholtrus is instantly distinguished in the field by its uniquely deep jaw layout, where the lower jaw fusion represents over half its total mandible length, and a prominent, diagnostic bone trough scoring the absolute underside of its chin. A distinctive, sleek flyer named for its sword-shaped, 18 cm uncrested head layout featuring a slightly concave snout profile. It possesses a lightweight, short-tailed frame balanced by an exceptionally long neck and elongated hands. Short, backward-pointing pycnofibers form a subtle coat behind its head and neck, likely showing slate gray and silt brown tones for camouflage. It is an active resident of temperate lake basins, river channels, and complex freshwater floodplain systems. An agile canopy and waterline generalist, it uses long fingers and powerful wings to navigate island breezes, moving on land with a steady quadrupedal walk. It targets aquatic insects and small vertebrates, utilizing exactly 50 sharp, pointed teeth packed into the front quarter of its jaws, with its heavily forward-tilted front fangs acting as an effective prey trap. Completely silent, closely shares ancestral lake terrain and skeletal lines with Pteropholtrus kiwi. However, Gladocephaloideus is easily distinguished in the field by its much lower overall tooth count, 50 versus 112, and a completely separate midline groove slicing right through its chin, lacking a deep bone trough layout. A magnificent, large-framed coastal aeronaut, with a 3.5-meter wingspan, instantly recognized by the largest toothed skull of any flying reptile, measuring nearly a meter in length. It features straight-edged, blade-like jaws ending in a pointed tip, a low snout ridge, and a long, narrow crest projecting from the rear of the skull. A dense, water-resistant pycnofiber coat drapes its frame, likely showing slate gray and salt white tones. It is a dominant resident of temperate lake basins, coastal mudflats, and marine lagoon environments. An active, exceptionally strong flyer, it glides steadily over open water, utilizing an elongated, hollow bone neck to strike. It drops low to aggressively trap surface fish and soft-bodied prey within 62 long, vertically oriented, recurved teeth tracking all the way to its bill windows. On land, It walks with a proud quadrupedal gait, entirely silent, easily outclasses regional lookalikes in sheer head length. It mirrors its sister taxon Phylongus in lifestyle, but Mogonopterus is instantly distinguished by its straight jaw margins, lack of a pronounced overbite, and its unique, backward swept skull blade layout. A large, distinctive flyer with a powerful 1.8 to 2.4 meter wingspan, an elongated neck, and a long, low 51 centimeter skull layout. It features an uncrested profile and seer-like jaws carrying roughly 58 noticeably curved teeth, restricted entirely to the front third of the beak. Covered in dense, hair-like pycnofibers, its coat likely shows slate gray and lake silt tones, offering perfect camouflage across its native habitat of ancient freshwater lake deposits, river basins, and wetland systems. An active, highly specialized wading piscivore, it stalks shallow water lines with a steady, calculated quadrupedal step, using long metatarsals to navigate soft mudflats. It sweeps its unexpanded bill through the water to snap up fish, relying on a unique tooth-on-tooth contact pattern, where replacement teeth emerge on the inside of functional rows. Flight is silent and elegant, shares its wetland habitat with Mogonopterus and Phylongus. However, Phorphixopterus is instantly distinguished in the field by its completely crestless jaws, a less expanded beak tip layout, and a unique wing-phalanx ratio, where the first bone is shorter than the second but longer than the third. A medium-sized, sleek flying reptile with an estimated 1.8 meter wingspan, and an advanced, short-tailed skeletal frame, it exhibits an elegant postcranial anatomy featuring a uniquely distinct right wing, where the first phalanx bone is pierced by a prominent, specialized air hole layout. A dense layer of downy, water-resistant pycnofibers drapes its torso, likely patterned in deep slate gray and lake silt tones. This specialized flyer is a dedicated wetland resident, actively patrolling pristine freshwater lakes, slow-moving river systems, and lush lakeside forests. An exceptionally agile aeronaut, it utilizes long, specialized wing metacarpals to slice through inland breezes. It operates as an active filter-feeding wader, stepping deftly along muddy margins with a calculated quadrupedal stride to snap up tiny aquatic organisms. Completely silent, it stands completely isolated as the premier named flyer of its older habitat zone, while its postcranial proportions closely mirror contemporary Ctenochasmatids like Phorphixopterus, Elanodactylus, and Eosipterus. Cratonopterus is instantly distinguished in the field by its lack of any structural bone expansion, where the shoulder coracoid meets the scapula ridge. An elegant, slender-billed flyer characterized by an exceptionally thin, needle-like, and extraordinarily straight snout profile layout. It possesses a specialized, sharp jaw architecture uniquely distinguished by a prominent longitudinal ridge running along each side of its lower beak, splitting the outer bone face into even upper and lower sections. These lateral bone plates fuse seamlessly into a third massive ridge tracking right along the central bottom edge of its chin. A water-resistant, fine coat of pycnofibers drapes its compact body, likely patterned in mottled sandy ochres and river silt grays to provide ideal camouflage across the open, complex networks of braided rivers and seasonal inland channels of its Asian habitat. A dedicated wading specialist, it stalks shallow sandbars with a calculated quadrupedal step. It sweeps its straight bill through the water to trap small aquatic invertebrates, utilizing at least 23 pairs of circular, forward and outward angling teeth that remain uniform in size all the way along the jaw layout. Completely silent, shares its rich braided river plains with Orthosipterus but is easily separated by its tooth rows and uncrested jaw. It mirrors Gnathosaurus in filter feeding style, but Otagopterus is instantly distinguished in the field by its strictly uniform, non-graduated tooth socket layout completely lacking any spoon-shaped snout expansion. A spectacular, highly specialized wetland flyer with a 3-meter wingspan, robust legs, and an extraordinarily long, 22-vertebra rudder tail, instantly recognized by its 29-centimeter skull where the long snout and lower jaws curve strongly upward. The lower jaw houses a magnificent, comb-like filter of 1,000 flexible, bristle-like teeth, while the upper jaw carries tiny, spatula-toothed pads. Its dense pycnofibers likely hold a distinct pinkish, or flamingo-like hue from a crustacean-rich diet, providing camouflage over shallow Cretaceous lake basins. Strictly nocturnal, it wades smoothly through lake edge currents by night, using its jaw comb to filter out plankton, then mashing prey with its upper teeth, and swallowing small gizzard stones to grind shells. Low-angled, frantic take-offs from open water surfaces mirror the heavy launching style of modern geese. Completely silent, shares its filter feeding style with the European Ctenochasma and Balaenognathus, but Tridostro is instantly distinguished by its strongly upturned jaws, vastly greater tooth count, 1,000 plus bristles, and its strictly South American range. A highly distinctive, small-bodied coastal flyer characterized by its elegant, slightly upward curving jaws layout. It is instantly recognized by its spectacular filter-feeding, comb mouth, containing an astonishing 440 to 568 subquadrangular, closely packed teeth anchored right along the top of the upper and lower jaw ridges. A water-resistant coat of fine pycnofibers drapes its advanced, short-tailed frame, likely patterned in slate gray and sandy mud tones to offer concealment across its native habitat of marginal marine shores, tidal river estuaries, and saltwater bays. An elegant and agile aeronaut, it patrols coastal winds, landing on mud flats to move with a calculated quadrupedal crawl. It acts as a dedicated wading filter feeder, sweeping its long beak through shallow water currents to sieve out small marine crustaceans and microorganisms. Layout entirely silent, shares its South American marine range with a vast array of specialized flyers, but stands completely unique in its dental structure layout. It closely mirrors Tradostro in filter feeding style, but Bikiribu is instantly distinguished in the field by carrying dense comb teeth in both the upper and lower jaws, distinct square-shaped tooth profiles, and noticeable gaps between each needle.